Bismillah, alhamdulillah, salatu wa rasulullah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in, amma ba'd. The question is about Imam Taqiyuddin Ibn Taymiyah rahimahullah ta'ala, the great Hanbali scholar. um, do his opinions matter? Okay. So firstly, definitely one of one of the great Hanbali scholars, one of the greatest minds in Islam. And of course, we know the different stages we've talked about, his true Hanbali phase, and then he went on a phase that had some problems that the scholars were responded to. And then it's said that at the end of his life, he came back to the Sunni tradition. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. But either way, we respond to the positions, right? So it's nothing personal. Overall, I mean, definitely a great scholar, master many of the sciences. But his opinions, though, do they matter? In reality, they don't matter to the Shafi'is, Malikis, or Hanafis, right? Because, he's a Hanbali scholar. So the only school in question here would be the Hanabila. So, and generally, of course, I mean, his Aqidah books are definitely not considered at all, right? They're not quoted, they're not considered. And his fiqh works and fiqh opinions are considered. Obviously, you have to study the school and understand how they take his opinions. Especially, he has like shuruh of books by Ibn Qudamah rahimahullah ta'ala and his grandfather Majduddin. So you have to study to understand kind of how the Hanabi understand that. And they actually would refer to him as Shaykh al-Islam. There's no problem in that. But again, we're focusing on one of the four schools, right? He's not the authority on all of the schools on all of Islam, right? Like the Salafiyah did. They made him the one and only. Even if he goes against ijma', they still will take his opinions. Okay, but now the Mu'tamad books, though, in the Hanbali school, though, are the Iqna' and the Muntaha. Right? Those are the two relied upon books, with the explanations, of course. So Imam Ibn Taymiyah doesn't have a book, like his Majmu' al-Fatawa is not a relied upon work. It's not even something that's studied. Right? And he has other, again, works, especially in his true Hanbali phase, that are relied upon, but him himself isn't the school, right? So he's definitely high up in fiqh at least, and he has consideration in weight, and he was called Shaykh al-Islam by the Hanabila. But the question that we're actually referring to with all of this, is he an authority, right, for the Muslims as a whole? Again, he's a great scholar, but the only school that's really going to consider him is going to be the Hanbali school, because he was a Hanbali scholar. So the other three schools, they don't have to consider him, right? They don't have to consider him at all, because we follow our own scholars. So in the Maliki school, you're going to focus on the Maliki scholars, right? If you're a Hanafi, you're going to focus on the Hanafi scholars, right? Obviously, with regards to Aqidah, that would... the Hanabila, they have the, obviously, Hanbali in fiqh, Hanbali in Aqidah, and Hanbali in Tasawwuf. You'd have to study to understand what that truly means. But obviously, we have, like, you can be like Maliki Ash'ari, Shafi'i Ash'ari, Hanafi Maturidi, or Hanafi Ash'ari even. It might be like a combination, no problem, as long as you're following one of the four schools with one of the three schools of Aqidah, and of course on the way of Tasawwuf. So anyway, so yes, again, great Imam. He had a problem or two that the scholars of Ahl Sunnah, they responded to, and nothing personal against him. And his opinions would be considered, at least in the Hanbali school only, right? But the majority of the Muslims don't have to consider his opinion, and there's nothing on them, right? Because he's a Hanbali scholar, and we shouldn't, obviously, like the way the Salafis did, make him an authority in Islam as a whole. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. Wa sallallahu ala Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in.